A vigil is planned tonight on the UW-Madison campus to remember the victims of the New Zealand shootings, while that country acts quickly to prevent another attack in the future.
And now that winter is over, it's time for the next Wisconsin season, road construction. We'll tell you how the Verona Road project might affect your commute starting later tonight.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 Now This Morning on this Thursday, March 21st. The only good thing about road construction means it's warm enough to start that work, right?
That's true, yeah. We often joke there are only two seasons here in Wisconsin, winter and road construction, but we are starting to turn the corner, warming up. Temperatures aren't quite as cold overnight, and we're seeing daytime highs consistently near 50. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. A lot of clouds in the area this morning. Sunshine, though, is in the forecast for the afternoon. Take a look at Weather Track. It'll show you that skies have cleared across Minnesota and Iowa over the last couple of hours. That clearing trend is expected to continue, working its way from west to east across the area this morning. Temperatures have been holding steady at 36 here in Madison. It's 35 in the Dells, 37 in Mineral Point, as well as Platteville. Your temperatures over the next 12 hours, though, will climb to highs right around 50 degrees this afternoon. I know we don't have a lot of flowers blooming right now, but with sunshine and temperatures like this, it won't be long before we start to see daffodils here in southern Wisconsin. Take a look at your first alert traffic maps. Still a few road closures due to flooding on the maps, but definitely not as many as we had earlier in the week. There are no issues here in Madison. That accident that occurred on the exit ramp to Verona Road has been cleared. No major delays or nothing to slow you down too much just yet.
Oh, that is a nice sigh of relief after all of last week and the residual road closures that have been going on.
Yep, that's true. It's nice to see green on the traffic map, if not in the grass.
Right, exactly.
Soon, you guys.
Yes, soon enough. I certainly hope. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning, Dutch prosecutors say the suspect in this week's tram shooting in Utrecht will be charged with murder or manslaughter with terrorist intent. 3 people were killed in that shooting. Multiple others were injured. We will, of course, bring you updates to this story over on Channel3000.com.
I'm Christina Laurie, live outside Edgerton High School this morning, where students and their backpacks will be searched before heading inside. This extra security is in place after a bomb threat was discovered written on a bathroom wall overnight. Now, that bomb threat said a bomb would go off inside the school on Thursday, which is today. Now, at this point, this is all precautionary, but there is an increased police presence here at the school, and the Edgerton Police Department is working to help secure the building. We're told to expect that police presence in addition to security screenings today. We've seen police monitoring the perimeter of this building, driving around ever since we arrived a little before 5 o'clock this morning. And according to the Janesville Gazette, students will not be allowed inside the building until 7 this morning. They will only be let in the building through the main entrance here at door A or the entrance next to the green space, which is door E. But for now, reporting live in Edgerton for News 3 Now, I'm Christina Laurie.
There will be a vigil tonight at the UW Library Mall in memory of the 50 people killed in the New Zealand mosque shootings last week. Organizers of that event are praising that country's prime minister for her response to the gun violence there. Late last night, she announced an immediate ban on military-style semi-automatic weapons, assault rifles, and high-capacity magazines. The legislation is still being drafted, but the prime minister is hoping for a ban to officially go into effect on April 11th. That's less than a month after this attack.
We are learning more this morning about how the man accused of kidnapping his daughter and killing her mother avoided arrest. Police say this woman from Milwaukee helped hide Darius Higgins from police when a statewide Amber Alert was issued for 2-year-old Nolani Robinson. Deloise Lipsy was allegedly with Higgins when a friend called her to tell her about what happened. But after hearing those accusations, she did not turn him in to police. Higgins is accused of shooting 2 women in Milwaukee. The mother of his child died from that gunshot wound. He's also accused of abducting his daughter Nolani, who was later found dead in Minnesota from blunt force trauma to the head.
The man accused of killing someone in a Ho-Chunk casino parking lot will hear some of the evidence against him today. Robert Pulvermacher is scheduled for his preliminary hearing this morning in Sauk County. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide in the death of 88-year-old Harold Johnson. Pulvermacher was on the run from authorities for more than a week after allegedly stabbing Johnson. He was eventually arrested outside his brother's business on Madison's Far East Side. He's been in the Sauk County Jail since then, being held on a $250,000 cash bond.
An ER nurse and doctor are asking for the community to help them support a family who lost their 10-year-old son in a fatal crash this weekend. Melissa and Sean O'Brien were at the right place at the right time Sunday. On their way back to Madison from Chicago, they noticed a big splash in some water off I-90 in Huntley, Illinois. They pulled over to help and found a flipped-over minivan submerged in water with Stacy and her 2 kids, Cameron and Kayana, inside. Melissa and Sean were able to rescue Stacy and Kayana, but they couldn't pull out Cameron in time. Sean performed CPR on the scene, but Cameron died later at the hospital. We talked to the couple about how Stacy is remembering her son.
Their favorite saying was, "I love you to the moon and back." And he would kiss his mom on the forehead every day, and she just misses it so much.
The couple has started a fundraiser on Facebook to help the family pay for funeral costs. If you would like to donate, a link to do that is online in this story on the homepage of channel3000.com.
Adams County officials are reminding drivers to be on alert on the roads as crews try to get to all of the issues caused by last week's flooding. County Road G is back open, but a week after the flooding started, some back roads are still underwater or dealing with issues like you're seeing right here. The county has actually run out of barricades to block off roads that are closed, so drivers are simply reminded to stay alert. Just because a road looks open does not mean it is safe to drive on. Adams County leaders are working hard right now to report this damage to the state. So far, 25 homeowners, 4 townships, and 1 business have all reported damage to emergency management officials there. A reminder to anyone across southern Wisconsin still dealing with flood damage, you are encouraged to call 211 to report that. Now, between the closures for flooding and closures for snow and ice this winter, school in Adams Friendship will now go until June. Now, the district was closed 3 days last week alone and 13 days so far this year. To make up for that missed time, at least some of it, school officials have moved the last day of school from May 29th to June 5th.
So it is officially a new season in Wisconsin, and we're not talking about spring, but construction season. Yes, those orange barrels will start popping up everywhere soon, and that includes on Verona Road, where work on the multi-year project will resume tonight. Starting this evening, northbound traffic between Williamsburg Way and Raymond Road will shift back to the new pavement on the west side of the highway where it was last fall. Nightly lane closures between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. will also start back up again. The DOT says 2 lanes in each direction will stay open to traffic during peak traffic times. The project is expected to wrap up in the fall of next year.
Here we go again.
Always. All right, 6:08, almost your time now. We are talking to our medical expert and resident new mom, Dr. Mara, about the first drug ever approved to treat postpartum depression. We'll get a sense of how common that condition is and what good this medicine could do up next.
And at least the temperature swings won't get me any more sick this week. Hattie's talking about mild days with a lot of sunshine. Maybe some fresh air will do me some good. She will have her full forecast when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
And we're
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio this morning. Still pretty cloudy, so not able to see any light on the horizon just yet, but we will see some sunshine a little bit later on today. That'll be a nice change from yesterday. It turned pretty cloudy in the afternoon. High temperatures, though, still managed to climb into the upper 40s here in southern Wisconsin. 50s weren't that far away, just south of the state line. Notice, though, that temperatures were significantly cooler in the Northwoods. There were many spots that did not make it out of the 30s yesterday, and that's due in most part to the snow that's still left on the ground. There's about a 10-degree spread between Eau Claire and Madison. They still have snow on the ground, and it looks a lot like winter in the Northwoods this morning, but melting will continue to take place with mild temperatures, no rain also in the forecast. The lack of precipitation is good news because we're not seeing any major changes on this flood bulletin map. Still many area rivers and streams at or above flood level in the area, so those warnings continue. Our weather forecast, though, over the coming days is actually pretty quiet. Don't have any precipitation in the forecast until Sunday. All the precipitation yesterday has ended for Wisconsin, and it tracks out to the east. Two storm systems actually will combine to create a pretty strong nor'easter that will impact the East Coast heading into the upcoming weekend. But take a look to the west, nothing showing up on the radar map this morning. No issues with fog either. The view from the Capitol, or the view of the Capitol, I should say, from the Edgewater Skycam is pretty clear this morning. Temperatures are generally in the mid-30s. We have 35 in the Dells and Camp Douglas, 36 here in Madison, 37 in Janesville, as well as Platteville and Prairie du Chien. There is a light northwesterly wind. It'll stay relatively light through the day today. Your weather track, satellite, and radar combined will show you that skies have already cleared across Minnesota and much of Iowa this morning, and that clearing trend is expected to continue, working its way from west to east across the area. So by lunchtime, a good amount of sun in the area, and those clouds continue to clear through the afternoon. Highs should reach near 50 degrees later today. Staying pretty quiet this evening. A little bit of cloud cover overnight as another cold front moves through the area, but no precipitation expected from that front. It will cool us down just a little bit on Friday. We're back to highs in the mid-40s. Sunshine, though, through Friday and Saturday. Two storm systems over the next 10 days to watch. The first one on Sunday bringing a chance for rain, and the next one bringing some rain later next week. Let's get a look at those traffic maps this morning, though, with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's a quiet start on the Beltline this morning. No delays to worry about yet in either direction at this point. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad. Just a few of the usual brake lights on Verona Road and Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline. Looking good downtown on campus. Plan on things picking up over the next hour or so. And other main routes coming into the city, they're moving along at the posted speeds with no major crashes or delays. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Hattie. So just this week, the FDA announced the first drug to ever be approved specifically to treat postpartum depression.
Here to talk about what that means is our medical expert and new mom herself, Dr. Mandira Mehra. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I don't think people really know how common postpartum depression is in the first place.
It's true, and there is a difference between just having the baby blues and really having that postpartum depression. Baby blues is sort of those first few days, maybe feeling a little more emotional, a little sad, perhaps crying some, but really postpartum depression can happen in that last trimester as well as the beginning of after giving birth, obviously. And it's very severe, and it does affect 1 in 9 women.
Wow.
So what we're talking about is much more severe symptoms. So you can feel apathy, you can feel sadness. In extreme cases, you may want to harm yourself or the baby. There have been, of course, reported cases of suicide. So if you feel any of these symptoms, first of all, you do want to consult your physician. Let them know there's things we can do. But this headline is amazing. There has been no actual medication approved for postpartum depression to date. And so this is the first medication of its kind. It's very exciting. We do want to review, of course, risk factors and benefits of the medication. So first of all, it's an intravenous medication, and it does have to be administered over 60 hours. So 60 hours is a long time. You do have to, of course, have an adult with you if you have your children, because while getting the medication, you may not be totally with it, and you may have other symptoms like headache, dizziness, even total loss of consciousness. That's the first limitation. The second limitation is the market price is supposed to be pretty steep for this, somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 approximately. That's the second thing. The great things about this medication, though, is unlike a lot of other antidepressants on the market that do take perhaps weeks to months to really kick in, this is a medication that could take effect within hours. So again, in phase 3 trials, it has shown that women reported feeling better, able to maybe cope with all these symptoms within hours of the medication.
Wow.
And so to be determined how widespread it really will be used, but definitely something exciting that there's even a very specific targeted drug out there now for postpartum depression.
We have about a minute left, and coming from my hoarse voice and throat right here, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about this second strain of the flu that's making its rounds right now, because it seems like, and we've heard from the CDC, that the flu may not have even peaked yet this season.
It's true, and so what we've seen so far is that first strain, the H1N1. Now we're seeing a second strain. So what this means is, I had a patient earlier ask me this week, Dr. Mara, can I really get the flu twice in one season? I'm not feeling great. And I said, unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, I still encourage people, and the CDC is encouraging people to still get that flu vaccine. It's not too late. That's still the #1 thing we can do. The #2 thing we can do is try to keep our immune systems up, healthy eating habits, hand washing, covering up if you cough, things like that. But the things to really keep in mind here is that if you do have the flu, still talk to your doctor. There's 2 different, not necessarily treatments, but medications out there that could help reduce symptoms and still can reduce the spread of flu. So yes, you can get the flu again, but if you've already gotten it, you probably have the resistance to that first strain.
Yeah.
But if you are feeling not great, if you're feeling those symptoms of just being run down and stuff, you could be having the flu, unfortunately. It may peak all the way until April, May even. So even though spring is on the way, the virus didn't get the memo.
Come on. Neither did Mother Nature for a little while there, but I think we've got that taken care of. Dr. Mara, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Great to be here.
Have a good one. All right, today is Down Syndrome Day, and we are going to introduce you to one area mom who says her toddler with Down syndrome has taught her more than she could have ever anticipated.
Yeah, we love this story, and his glasses and his smile. All right, Hattie has some good news for people like me who might be trying to fight some kind of bug off. Plenty of sun and mild temperatures ahead. She has another check-in on the First Alert forecast when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. We are stuck under some clouds this morning, but that's actually keeping temperatures a little bit warmer. Take a look at your weather track maps and you'll see that skies are clearing just west of the Mississippi River Valley. So a little patience this morning and we should see some sunshine. Mid to upper 30s this morning for southern Wisconsin, 37 in Platteville, 36 here in Madison. Watertown and Juneau are in the mid 30s as well. Here's a look at your bus stop forecast. You will see some sunshine for the afternoon and the high temperature will climb to right around 50 degrees. So just a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Have a wonderful day.
We certainly will with that forecast. Thank you, Hattie. So today is World Down Syndrome Day. It's all about recognizing people living with Down syndrome, that they are first and foremost people.
Our Christina Laurie had a chance to talk with Melissa Shutwell, a mom whose 3-year-old son, Augie, was born with Down syndrome. But instead of dwelling on what some might consider a disability, Melissa celebrates her son's possibilities. This year, the global theme of World Down Syndrome Day is Leave No One Behind. It's a push to give every person with the condition, like Augie, the same opportunities as everyone else in every area of life. It's also a chance to share some information about local resources available to parents. Children born with DS often experience medical complications at birth. Those complications can be costly, but Medicaid programs can help cover bills that insurance plans don't.
In South Central Wisconsin, it's really a great place to raise a child with Down syndrome because there's a lot of great organizations and support systems in place here.
That's Augie right there. Cutest Kid Award. Look at those glasses and that smile. So the Madison Area Down Syndrome Society provides a bunch of local resources for families who have someone with Down syndrome. You can find a link to those resources over on our website, channel3000.com.
And then tonight there's an event called Gallery 21 to raise some awareness for people in our community living with Down syndrome. That features art exhibits over at the Memorial Union on campus. If you can't go, celebrate people with that extra chromosome by wearing brightly colored mismatch socks. Leah and I forgot ours this morning, but we'll try to find some this afternoon.
Stay tuned for some Twitter pics. Okay, we want to let you know about a special event happening Monday night here on News 3 Now to help get your consumer questions answered. Our Call for Action volunteers will be in the office starting at 5 p.m. to take your questions and mediate on your behalf and help get you a solution from the business you might be struggling with. I'm going to be in a little later than normal to show you what our CFA team can help with. That's happening Monday night from 5 until 7 here on News 3 Now.
It was a great opportunity, too, because you were saying in the last hour, a lot of people can't get to their phones in that, 11 to 1 time frame during a weekday. So what a great opportunity.
Yeah, the Call for Action volunteers normally here Monday, Wednesday, Friday during lunch. But if you can't call during then, there's a great chance to give them a call from 5 to 7. Again, I'll be live on 4 and 5 and 6 with what exactly they can help with.
They get results.
They do.
Tell you what.
They do.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars in results.
Yeah. All right. 6:24 right now. A mom will not face charges after her toddler was found wandering the streets of Beloit in nothing but his diaper.
And new documents are showing some concern over how animals at the Henry Vila Zoo are being treated. We'll have more on that and more local news. It's coming up in the next half hour of News 3 Now this morning. The struggle between the Republican-controlled legislature and Democratic governor continues as Republicans reject the governor's budget for state building projects.
And there's an increased police presence at Edgerton High School this morning after a bomb scare overnight. I'm live with the latest.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 Now this morning on this Thursday, March 21st. We'll get an update from Christina coming up in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about the lovely spring weather that we're seeing today.
Yeah, yet again, it's kind of a copy and paste situation for Hattie McLean. But Hattie, it is well deserved after the winter that we've been struggling through.
Yeah, maybe we should be more specific. The last half of the winter really was the worst part of it for southern Wisconsin and the surrounding areas. But we trend towards warmer conditions today and more sunshine. Not able to see a lot of that sunshine this morning. We still have cloudy skies here across southern Wisconsin, but skies are clearing across Minnesota and Iowa. That back edge of the clouds is going to start to work its way through southwestern Wisconsin over the next couple of hours and continue to move eastward through the rest of the morning. So more sunshine is in our forecast for the afternoon. Temperatures have been pretty steady under that cloud cover. Haven't moved at all this morning. 36 in Madison, 37 in Janesville, 38 in Prairie du Chien, and 35 in the Dells. So not a terribly cold start to the day. Temperatures, though, will warm to right around 50 this afternoon with light winds from the west-northwest. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. So far, the roads have been pretty good, and we're not seeing any major delays or accidents showing up on the Beltline or in the Madison area. If you are driving into Madison from the surrounding communities, well, it looks like you're still going at posted speeds, and everything is normal for this time of the morning.
And that is what we like to see because we saw a little bit of a traffic situation on the Beltline earlier today. So glad to see that all cleared up.
That's been cleared.
Yeah.
Yep, smooth sailing right now.
All right. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
I'm Christina Laurie, live outside Edgerton High School this morning, where there's an increased police presence and students will have themselves and their backpack searched before heading inside after a bomb scare overnight. Police discovered a bomb threat written on a wall inside a bathroom here. The threat said that a bomb would go off on Thursday, which is today. At this point, all of these measures are precautionary, but the threat prompted the Edgerton Police Department to help secure the building overnight. They did not find any bomb. We're told to expect an increased presence in addition to those security screenings today. We've seen police monitoring the perimeter of this building, driving around ever since we got here a little before 5 o'clock. According to the Janesville Gazette, students will not be allowed inside the building until 7 o'clock this morning. And when they are allowed inside, they will only be allowed to enter either through the main entrance here at door A or the entrance next to the green space, which is door E. Just in the past few minutes, the lights were flipped on inside this building, and we've been seeing teachers inside. But again, students not allowed inside until 7 o'clock this morning. For now, live in Edgerton, I'm Christina Laurie for News 3 Now.
Thank you, Christina. Also in Rock County, a Beloit mother will not face charges after her toddler was found walking the streets alone yesterday morning, wearing nothing but a pull-up diaper. It happened around 7:30 yesterday along Roosevelt Avenue in Beloit. Police say the boy was cold, but he wasn't hurt at all. They searched the neighborhood for close to an hour before they found the boy's mother. They say this kind of thing happens more than you'd think.
I'd say on average once every other month. And it's either way. Either there's a child found and then we try to locate the parents, or parents call saying, I just woke up, I just got home, my kid's not in the house.
Child Protective Services was called to that home, but police say they don't believe child neglect had anything to do with the toddler getting away from his family.
There's an update on the situation at one of the only free zoos on the continent. That happens to be right here in Madison. Newly released documents show the major fundraising organization for Henry Vilas Zoo is accusing the zoo's director, Rhonda Schwetz, of verbally abusing its staff. A county human resources investigation found no basis for discipline. Those documents, however, also describe concerns the Henry Vilas Zoological Society has about animal welfare. That includes concerns from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums last year, such as animals spending too much time in small areas and insufficient veterinary coverage. The county says most of the concerns in last year's report have been addressed, but there is still a need for some extra staff. News 3 Now does have a joint marketing agreement with the Friends of Henry Vilas Zoo, which includes various things like sponsorship of zoo events and the weather camera that you see here on air.
At the state capitol, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is refusing to testify in a federal case on gerrymandering. The federal lawsuit alleges political boundary maps that Vos helped draw were done so illegally. Earlier this week, attorneys representing Democrats in that case asked a panel of federal court judges to force Vos to testify and turn over documents related to the case. Attorneys for Vos argue he's immune from civil legal action and shouldn't have to testify. Wisconsin's gerrymandering case is set to go to trial in front of the U.S. Supreme Court in July. The court is also set to rule on similar cases out of Maryland and North Carolina in the coming months.
Meanwhile, Republicans on the Wisconsin Building Commission are rejecting the governor's capital budget. Governor Evers plans to allocate $2.5 billion for construction projects across the state. Republican leaders, though, sent the governor a letter yesterday calling his proposed $2 billion in borrowing unrealistic and unsustainable. Evers says he's disappointed by that decision. The legislature's Republican-controlled Budget Committee will now start from scratch.
The UW system is commenting on that committee's decision this morning. System President Ray Cross says 60% of the state's university buildings are between 45 and 70 years old and need that money for renovations. In a statement, Cross said, quote, "The risks to safety, our maintenance costs, and to Wisconsin's ability to attract and retain students are only growing." Cross says the system will continue to make that case that those capital projects are needed.
All right, drivers, a heads up here. Some analysts say the spring is bringing more green to the ground and less green to our wallets. The site Gas Buddy predicts the price of gas to climb toward that $3 mark before peaking this season. We saw a 2.5-cent increase around Madison overnight, now up to an average of $2.53 a gallon. That is a quarter more than what we were paying a month ago. Wisconsin is among the states that have seen the biggest jumps in gas prices, by the way, since the start of the year.
You said earlier you've already felt that.
Oh, yeah. Had to fill up the tank yesterday.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
Tis the
It's one of
season.
those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
6:35 right now. New Zealand's prime minister says she is banning all assault weapons after last week's terror attack on 2 mosques. We'll have the details a little later in the morning sprint.
And it's almost time to go dancing. The Badgers are in California this morning, getting ready for tomorrow afternoon's NCAA tournament game. We'll check in with the team when we return here on News 3 Now this morning.
So we always ask you to share your morning with us, and Linda shared another one from Lake Koshkonong. Just a beautiful shot, all sorts of colors in that one.
You know, Hattie said we are about to see some buds on the trees. Looking forward to some pics from that, Linda.
Add some green in the mix.
Yeah, we'd love that. So what does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning so Danica and I can find and share our favorites right here on the program. So the Badger men's basketball team is waking up in California this morning, a day before their first round matchup against the Oregon Ducks in the NCAA tournament. The team had their first full day of practice on the West Coast yesterday. They're practicing at Santa Clara University, home of 8-time NBA All-Star Steve Nash. That's also where they're staying, about 10 minutes away from San Jose, where Wisconsin will play Oregon tomorrow afternoon. Jay Wilson and Kevin Lewis are going to join the team in California. They'll bring us live coverage starting later today.
And the madness does officially begin later this morning for the first full day of the NCAA tournament games. The action starts here on News 3 Now just after 11 a.m. with Minnesota taking on Louisville. That's followed up with another game featuring Big Ten tournament champions Michigan State. They will take on Bradley, and then tonight's slate of games has Abilene Christian facing Kentucky just after 6, and Seton Hall playing Wofford at approximately 8:40.
So because of those games, there are some changes to our newscast schedule you should know about. There will be no News 3 Now at noon today or tomorrow. And if you're a fan of the CBS soap operas, don't worry, Mom, you're not going to miss anything. Those storylines will pick right back up where they left on Monday. In the evenings, News 3 Now at 6 will air at 5:30, immediately after our 5 p.m. newscast. And News 3 Now at 10 will also start a little closer to 11 once the final game of the night is done.
6:40 right now. It's going to be tough to stay cooped up inside watching basketball all day. I could always do that. But the sun will officially rise before the top of the hour, and there's going to be plenty of it today. Maybe just open the windows when the TV is on.
There you go.
Yeah. Hattie has our first alert forecast coming up.
But first, it's March 21st, a very sunny one at that. We want to say happy birthday to Walter and all the kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Taking a live look right now on the west side of Madison. We are expecting those clouds to clear out later on today and make way for the sun. Sun does come up before 7 o'clock now, which is great news. Hattie will be in just a moment with a look at your forecast.
Speaking of some good news, a Columbia County farmer is lending a hand to farmers out in Nebraska who are dealing with flooding down there. Joe Keller says he knows the struggles of running a farm firsthand. So when he saw the destruction in Nebraska, he was inspired to help out. In a post shared more than 800 times now, Joe is calling on people to donate things like household items and farming equipment to the families out there who have lost everything in the flooding. One day after posting, he's even gained some volunteers who will join him when he heads down to help next week.
There's already a Cajun Navy that comes out of Louisiana. They go around to different disasters, you know, with their boats and trucks and everything and try to help out. I thought about that when I thought, oh, let's have a Badger Army and head out there and try to help out.
Badger Army indeed. Love that, Joe. So the devastation impacting farmers is approaching nearly $1 billion in crop and cattle losses. We have more information on how you can help. That's up on our website this morning.
We're all going to start seeing the impact of this because of how much livestock is down in Nebraska. We could see meat prices start to go up in the grocery stores. So good on Joe for doing his fair share and helping out the neighbors.
Yeah, Pam Yonke was talking about this morning, and she also said that Joe has helped farmers in other parts of the country when they've had hard times. He was down in Texas helping folks down there a while back. So good on you, Joe. Nobody's surprised. Farming communities always stepping up to help each other.
Most definitely. All right, let's turn it over to Hattie now, who thankfully does not have rain in the forecast for today. Hey, Hats.
Good morning. No, that is the good news. We have a couple of dry days in the forecast. If you were wondering, though, I put together a graphic of our average first days that we top at certain degrees. 50 degrees. We normally top the first time February 22nd. We were above that by a lot this year. We hit 50 on January 5th. Now, our average first 60-degree day of the year, March 23rd, again, a little bit ahead of schedule, hitting 60 on March 14th. So we'll see if the trend continues, but the normal first 70-degree day is April 8th here in Madison, just about 3 or so weeks away from now. Here's a look at the upper air pattern. We often use this to depict what's going to happen over the next couple of days. Starting this morning, again, you can see the jet stream diving southward here across Madison and the upper Midwest. Cold air, though, generally has been off to the east. Not a big issue for us over the last couple of days. However, a cold front moving through tomorrow does bring a little bit of that cold air back into the region, so it'll be a little cooler tomorrow than it is today. Temperatures then warm as we go through the week. You can see that heat building in the west starting on Monday. Those temperatures warm through the midsection of the country through the middle of the week. We get in on that warm up towards the end of the week, but then another batch of cold air is likely to return as we head towards late next week. Here's a look at your temperature trend, and really that depicts what's happening, kind of an up and down trend that is pretty typical for this time of the year. We're within a few degrees of normal generally, though. We're cooling back down on Monday and then again Saturday, so for the next weekend. Here's your travel forecast across the country. You'll notice a lot of sun through the midsection of the country. A little stormy out west with showers and thunderstorms possible in Albuquerque. 60 degrees there for the temperature, so we're just 10 degrees cooler than that. Another storm system, strong nor'easter impacting the east coast of the United States as we go through today and tomorrow. You can see those storms on the satellite map, cloudiness and precipitation to the west as well as to the east, but a big hole in the clouds through the midsection of the country. Sunshine is in the forecast and a much needed chance to dry out for parts of the area. Here's a look at our temperatures this morning. 36 at Mineral Point, Lone Rock's at 38, Madison still 36. We've been holding steady all morning. Light northwesterly winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour, not going to increase much today. Here's your future track forecast model. Watch how those clouds clear the area as we head through the morning hours. Some more sunshine in here for the afternoon. Will actually completely clear out as we head towards the evening. High temperatures will top near 50 degrees. Our extended forecast then calls for a little bit of cloud cover tonight, but no precipitation. We're back to sunshine tomorrow. 46 for the high, 50s for the weekend. Again, 2 storm systems on the map, though, one on Sunday and then one again for the second part of next week. Both warm enough, though, for some rain.
Frito.
Frito.
What a cute name.
Yeah. Hey, the patio furniture's out. Frito may be able to lounge a little bit today.
Cutie. Look at that hairdo, too.
50 degrees. Who's the boss in that house?
Seriously. I wonder if they ever blow anybody's minds and have Frito eating Fritos.
Oh.
Just...
You
That's the
never
next
know.
picture
What a
to
snack.
send in. Love that.
Like Fritos.
I do like Fritos. All right, thank you, Addie.
You're welcome.
What a name for a pup. The Morning Sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 Now this morning.
.6:51 your time now. Time for the morning sprint. Hattie says all is quiet in the weather center this morning with another sunny day in store.
But we want to start with Christina Laurie. She is down in Edgerton with the very latest on the situation there. Hi, Christina.
Good morning. Students and teachers are just starting to arrive here at Edgerton High School. They will all have their bags and backpacks searched before they're allowed inside the building this morning. Now, this is all a precautionary measure. This extra security is in place after a bomb threat was discovered written on a bathroom wall inside the high school overnight. That threat said a bomb would go off on Thursday, which is today. At this point, again, this is all a precaution. No bomb was found in that initial search overnight. According to the Janesville Gazette, students will not be allowed inside the school until 7 o'clock this morning.
Thank you, Christina. Into the Channel3000.com Alert Center this morning. Dutch prosecutors say the suspect in this week's tram shooting in Utrecht will be charged with murder or manslaughter with terrorist intent. 3 people were killed in that shooting. A number of others were injured.
Every semi-automatic weapon used in the terrorist attack on Friday will be banned in this country.
That right there is New Zealand's Prime Minister announcing a ban on all assault rifles in her country. The ban includes all military-style semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines. The announcement comes less than a week after the attack that left 50 mosque worshippers dead. The Prime Minister hopes to have the full legislation go into effect by April 11th, less than a month after those attacks.
Back in Wisconsin, we're learning more this morning about how the man accused of kidnapping his daughter and killing her mother avoided arrest. Police say Delois Lipsey helped hide Darius Higgins from police after a statewide Amber Alert was issued for 2-year-old Nolani Robinson. She was allegedly with Higgins when a friend called to tell her about what happened, but still allegedly did not turn him into authorities.
The man accused of killing someone in a Ho-Chunk casino parking lot will hear some of the evidence against him today. Robert Pulvermacher is scheduled for his preliminary hearing this morning in Sauk County. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide in the death of 88-year-old Harold Johnson. Pulvermacher was on the run from authorities for more than a week after allegedly stabbing Johnson. He was eventually arrested outside of his brother's business on Madison's Far East Side.
There are still roads in Adams County underwater this morning, a week after flooding started there. Officials have now run out of barricades to block roads that should be closed. They're asking drivers to be extra alert as work continues to fix those roads and report any damage to the state. Just because a road appears open does not mean it's safe to drive on.
Closures related to this winter's weather now mean Adams Friendship students and teachers will be in school going into June this summer. The district was closed 3 days last week. Then add on a snowy winter, and Adams Friendship has missed 13 days so far this school year. To make up for that time, school officials have moved the last day of school from May 29th to June 5th.
And we're starting with cloud cover this morning across all of southern Wisconsin. Clearing, though, starting to take place for Minnesota and Iowa already. That clearing line will work its way through the area today. We should see temperatures climb through the 30s and 40s to top right around 50 degrees later on this afternoon.
Hattie, thank you. A Beloit mother will not face charges after her toddler was found walking the streets alone wearing nothing but a pull-up diaper. Police found that little boy around 7:30 yesterday morning near the 1500 block of Roosevelt Avenue. He was cold, police say, but not hurt. Officers searched the neighborhood for close to an hour before finding the boy's mother. Child Protective Services was called to that home, but police say they don't believe child neglect had anything to do with the toddler getting outside and away from his family.
Republicans on the Wisconsin Building Commission are rejecting the governor's capital budget. Tony Evers' plan called for $2.5 billion in construction projects across the state. Before yesterday's meeting, Republican leaders sent the governor a letter calling his proposed $2 billion in borrowing unrealistic and unsustainable. Evers says he was disappointed by that decision. The legislature's Republican-controlled budget committee will now start from scratch.
The Wisconsin Badgers are waking up in California this morning, getting ready for their first NCAA tournament game against the Oregon Ducks. Now, the Badgers do not play until tomorrow afternoon, but games will get underway later this morning when Minnesota and Louisville tip off at 11 a.m. right here on News 3 Now. The only other Wisconsin team in the tournament, by the way, Marquette, plays Murray State at 3:30 this afternoon on TBS.
Now that we're in spring, analysts are predicting a big spike at the gas pump. The site Gas Buddy predicts the price of gas to climb toward the $3 mark before peaking this season. We saw a 2.5-cent increase around Madison last night, now up to $2.53 a gallon this morning. That's more than a quarter than more than just a month ago. Wisconsin is among the states that have seen the biggest jumps in gas prices since the start of the year.
Spring also means road construction, and work on Verona Road will start up again tonight, which could shift your drive to some new lanes. Northbound traffic between Williamsburg Way and Raymond Road will go back to the new pavement on the west side of the highway where it was last fall. Nightly lane closures between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. also start back up again, and the DOT says 2 lanes in each direction will remain open to traffic during peak traffic times.
Speaking of traffic, let's get a check with Josh Tim on your morning commute on this Thursday. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Already brake lights on the westbound side of the Beltline. That's going to add a couple minutes between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Not too bad on inbound John Nolan, just one patch of brake lights near the Rimrock intersection. Northbound side of Verona Road, you're picking up near the Highway PD intersection. And other main routes coming into the city, they're moving along at the posted speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And our forecast today calls for cloudy skies this morning, turning partly sunny. Oh, it's just out of the frame and Florida swimming.
He's waving from the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah, high temperatures near 50 today.
All right, have a good one, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow.